If you want to quit porn easily, it's crucial that you understand that porn use isn't a disease. You don't have a broken brain. As we can see on this graph, substance use disorder, i.e. people who use drugs and alcohol heavily, goes down over time, whereas actual diseases like heart disease and diabetes go up over time. Real diseases increase over time. Substance use disorder isn't a real disease. That's why it goes down over time. On this graph here, we see that porn use decreases over time. Again, if we thought this was a disease, we'd expect it to increase over time, but it doesn't. It's because porn use isn't a real disease. NoFap has brainwashed you into thinking that this is a disease of the brain. It simply isn't. It completely is not. You just really like doing it. That's what's going on here. But if you believe that it's a disease, that distracts you from the truth. The truth is that you really like doing it for various reasons. Those reasons become invisible. They become unanalyzed when you believe in the disease. If you're focusing on a disease which doesn't exist, you're not focusing on why you want to continue doing it. The story we've been told by NoFap, people like Hamza, people like Andrew Huberman, big neuroscientists, right? Esteemed people. The story we've been told is that we use porn. The porn changes our brain. These brain changes cause urges, which means that we want to use porn more. Because we use porn more, we want to do it more. And there's this vicious loop. This story is demoralizing. I felt very hopeless and frustrated personally when I was experiencing this myself years ago. Now, I just don't use porn. It's effortless. I'm just happy not using it. Here's the deal. If these brain changes, if this vicious cycle was going to happen, then we'd expect this. We'd expect this kind of a curve. We'd expect porn use to increase over time. Even if it wasn't an exponential increase, we'd expect some level of increase over time. As you can see on the graph, that is not what we observe. We see it going down over time, and we see it going down over time, all drugs and alcohol, because people just get bored of it. They don't give a fuck about it as much anymore. That's the truth. There's no brain changes that's compelling us to keep on using. That's bullshit. The brain changes that we see are due to habit, and habit has no oomph behind it. The brain changes you see, you should not be worried about. That's your brain functioning normally. It's your brain learning. It's normal shit. Here's the analogy that I'll use, okay? People believe in Santa Claus, right? Does Santa Claus exist? No. People believe in addiction. Does addiction exist? I'm going to say no, right? But if you believe in addiction, that can motivate you to do stuff. If you believe in Santa Claus, that can motivate you to do stuff. Kids believe in Santa Claus, and so they're motivated to put cookies and milk by the fireplace at night time, so that when Santa Claus, this giant fat man, comes down, he can eat them. When you believe in addiction, you're motivated towards PMO. It's the belief that motivates, despite the thing that the belief is claiming to exist doesn't exist. Santa Claus doesn't exist. PMO addiction doesn't exist. Basically, this neuroscience ideology is really problematic because people like, as I said, big neuroscientists are talking about this stuff and they're purporting as though it's true. They're telling you it's true, and because you believe it's true, you have this sense of hopelessness and despair. I'm just going to be destined to battle urges my whole life. I felt this way and it fucking sucks. The good news is that once you realise it isn't true, you've just been sold a lie. And I'm not blaming Andrew Huberman or any of these people, but they are wrong, even though they're experts in their field. And I know that for a fact because I've changed despite my brain changes, and you can too, and most people do. 90% plus of alcoholics just quit. 99% of cocaine users just quit. It's the norm to just stop doing shit. It's abnormal to continue doing stuff. It's abnormal to continue doing the same thing for the rest of your life. Like, human beings change, our minds change, we see priorities differently as time goes on. Not normal to keep on doing shit and doing the same repetitive thing over time. The only reason why people do that is because they believe they have to. They've bought into this addiction myth. It's a load of bollocks, and it's really sad to see. These two graphs, I'm sure it's making you question, like, is this true or not? I'm hoping that you can just have a bit of insight and think, okay, maybe this is the truth. And just think, genuinely. Read the Freedom Model, as always. I'll link it below. That's my source material. That's where I get everything from. So if you're new here, read that, like it for the algo, subscribe, and we're going to keep pumping out this content. So read the Freedom Model, read that book. Don't even give me any credit, and free yourself. That's what I want.